The Illuminati. Just saying the name brings up all these wild images, right? Secret societies, shadowy figures, pulling all the strings. But what's actually true? Well, that's what we're going to dive into. We're going to separate the real, historical facts from, well, the much crazier fiction.
They're watching you. I mean, it's the classic line from every spy movie, every conspiracy theory, right? This idea of some hidden group lurking in the shadows, controlling everything. But have you ever stopped to think, where did that idea even begin?
And that's really the heart of the whole modern myth, isn't it? A secret cabal, a hidden elite that's secretly running the entire world. And it's a story that just won't die. And why? Well, honestly, because it kind of makes sense of a world that often feels chaotic and random. It gives a simple, if, a pretty scary explanation for it all.
I mean, think about it. The name is everywhere now. You see it joked about in Taco Bell commercials. It's in Dan Brown novels. Madonna sings about it. It's just become this catch-all term for secret evil group. But to really get a handle on why this idea is so powerful, we need to go back, way back. And let me tell you, the real story, it's way stranger than any of this.
All right, so let's rewind. We're not talking about some ancient mystical order that's been around forever. No, we're going to a very specific date and a very specific place. May 1st, 1776. The location, Ingolstadt, Bavaria. This, right here, is where the real Illuminati actually started.
And here's the first surprise. They didn't even call themselves the Illuminati at first. Nope. Their name was the Order of Perfectibilists. And get this, their goal was to make men free and happy by first making them good. Sounds pretty idealistic, doesn't it? Almost utopian. A total 180 from the world domination vibe we get today.
So who was the shadowy figure behind all this? Some immortal overlord? An ancient demon? Not even close. The guy's name was Adam Weishaupt. He was a 28-year-old professor, a professor of canon law, that's church law, at the university there. His dad was a lawyer. He was just a smart, respected academic. Not exactly the boogeyman you picture, is he?
Okay, so what about their symbols? They had a couple of main ones. First, the Owl of Minerva, which, makes sense. Minerva was the goddess of wisdom, and these guys were all about Enlightenment ideas. But then there's this other one, a dot inside a circle. This was meant to be the all-seeing eye of the order's leaders. A little bit of internal surveillance. And yeah, that symbol is going to get a major makeover later on.
So this is the big question, right? How does a group that wants to make everyone free and happy turn into the ultimate conspiracy theory villain? Well, because behind that shiny, happy mission, Adam Weishaupt had a plan, and it was a real plan, a very radical plan for, you guessed it, world domination.
I mean, this was not some small-time operation. The end goal was huge. Step 1, destroy Christianity and, well, all religion. Step 2, get rid of all governments. Just wipe the slate clean. Then they'd create one giant global republic with total equality. And economically, a communism of goods where nobody owns anything personally. And guess who would be in charge of this paradise? The Illuminati, of course.
Now, they weren't planning to storm the castles with torches and pitchforks. Oh no, this was a conspiracy, through and through. Weishaupt himself wrote, and this is a direct quote, "The great strength of our order lies in its concealment." He wanted them to hide in plain sight, always using other groups as a front.
And man, this guy was a planner. The strategy was brilliant, in a scary way. First, you join the Freemasons. Use their secret lodges as a perfect cover. Then, you worm your way into literary societies and libraries, basically the internet of the 18th century, to control what people are reading and thinking. And if you couldn't win over the big-name writers, simple, you just destroy their careers. And they went after everybody for new recruits. Priests, regular folks, you name it.
He even had a whole playbook for recruiting women. Listen to this. He wrote, "There is no means of influencing men so powerfully as by means of women." His plan was to insinuate themselves, dangle the idea of emancipation, and get them fired up about the cause. Basically, use them as powerful influencers without them ever knowing they were being played.
But, and this is a big but, for all that talk of emancipation, when you dig into his actual writings for this new world order, guess who's in charge of every family? A patriarch, the man. So yeah, I guess freedom and equality for all came with a few asterisks.
So with the plan this huge, you'd think they either succeeded or went down in a blaze of glory, right? Well, not exactly. The actual, historical Bavarian Illuminati. They only lasted about 10 years. But just because they were officially shut down doesn't mean the story ends there. Oh no, that's when the legend was just getting started.
Here's something you might not know. Weishaupt's group wasn't the first to call themselves the Illuminati. The name just means the Enlightened Ones, and it had been kicking around for centuries. There were the Alumbrados in Spain back in the 1400s, a brotherhood in Afghanistan, another group in France. So the name itself already had this mysterious history, which made it super easy for it to just latch onto new conspiracies after the Bavarian group disappeared.
So in 1784, the government in Bavaria officially banned them, outlawed the whole thing. But it wasn't some big dramatic takedown. Weishaupt's just escaped. A friendly duke, who was also in the club, gave him protection. And the guy lived to be 82 years old. He never stopped writing and, well, plotting.
And with the real group now gone, or at least deep underground, the myth just exploded. It started popping up in literature. Some people think Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is actually an allegory for the Illuminati. It's mentioned in Tolstoy's War and Peace. And by the 1900s, conspiracy books were blaming them for literally everything. The French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, and that brings us right up to the modern day.
At some point, the word Illuminati completely detached from that little group in Bavaria. It just became a catch-all term, a label you could stick on anyone you thought was part of a secret power structure. People have accused everyone from Queen Elizabeth to the Rockefeller family of being in on it. It just means the people in charge that I don't trust.
So that leaves us with one last kind of spooky question. Did Adam Weishaupt's plan actually fail? Or did it succeed in a way he never could have imagined? By disappearing and becoming this all-powerful myth, maybe his ideas gained more influence than the real group ever did. You know, maybe the greatest trick the Illuminati ever pulled was making us all argue about whether they even exist at all.